Today I'm going to be showing you how to draw an apple with crayons, and the color palette will be a monochromatic color palette. I'm only going to use red and black for this assignment and skill. All right, so the first thing we want to do is actually draw the apple. I will start with the lightest color, which is red in this point, and start with a nice little outline. Draw lightly. It's easier to come back from mistakes when you draw lightly, and also it helps you form out the actual apple when you apply nice light lines. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a nice light line around here. I'm not picking a line yet. I'll do that when I'm sure about the drawing. Draw a little line here so that we have a little concave area to put our stem. And in any drawing that I'm focused on one object, I always like to apply a background line. As a teacher, it allows me to teach students the difference between the background, foreground, and we can play around with different tones and colors with each area. Okay, so we do have our apple here. The stem, it's a nice little light line coming out of there right now. I am going to put a little leaf here of the apple. Again, light lines. You guys can slow and stop this video if you need to concentrate on any area. I find that when my son draws from the YouTube, he's definitely stopping, looking, which is a good approach. And I would advise you to do so here. So using crayons or color pencils when paint is not available is a really good way to teach some color theory. Here, we're going to teach value through drawing a monochromatic version of the apple, meaning we're going to use one color plus the lightness and darkness of that color. The darkness is going to be satisfied with the black crayon, and the light will be the color of the drawing paper. Once I establish some form here, I'll indicate a cast shadow, just a light little blur here. That'll be my cast shadow that we can develop. All right. So I have my structure here, my background, my foreground, I have the object that I need to draw. Now it's just a matter of applying tone. And this is all about pressure. It's all about passing. And what I mean by passing, the more passes you put over a section, the darker it's going to get. So I'm going to just kind of fill in my dark areas, avoiding the light. That's how you get that light section and parts in a drawing, avoiding the light. So avoid that. And I just kind of stay here. I look at the object. I'm looking right now. Not really looking at the paper, really looking at the object, so I can transfer that information, that visual information, into my brain, which will then transfer it into this paper. See a little section there. I could make a decision on the background. Maybe I want the background dark, so I'll throw some tone back there. And remember, we're going to mix black into this drawing. But right now, we just want to fill in where our darker tones are going to be. All right. And you don't fill it in with a dark tone. We're just indicating it. So we're not forcing color in right now. So I just kind of identify the line, the edge that I want by really focusing on that area. And now I can get a little bit more focused on finding even more darks. When you look at the apple, especially a red and delicious one, since I'm using that as my model, the tones change. Sometimes it gets dark, sometimes it gets light, sometimes it gets back to dark, sometimes it's sharp darkness. So you just try to copy that as you draw and fill and shade. For my class that's completing this assignment, for those that don't have paint, you can use this to complete your monochromatic painting assignment. I know it's tough during COVID-19 learning, I guess. But we're gonna make do with what we have and make the best of it. Okay. So right now I'm filling in a little bit darker this area here. All right. So I just decided that this part will be darker than this area. So I'll go in here. It's just a matter of filling in here right now. Kind of building a nice tone around the apple. So I'm playing a little kind of game with the image right now. It's a push and pull game. So if I want this edge crisper, I go to the space right near the apple and just push more tone in here. Meaning go over it, meaning it's a little bit more intense. All right, I'm gonna go back to my apple and look for more darks. Okay, I know there's some dark area down here. Area here, that's dark. My shadow. Now, I don't want this just white right now. Just because this is a skill building assignment, we're going to have it light, not white. So there's a difference there. So I'm going to fill that in there white. Now, as I pass over my cast shadow, I want to just intensify the pressure here so that there's a difference. Let's just finish that application here. For those students that need to really look at my drawing to complete the assignment, that's fine. Using this as a model is great. Selecting your own apple, it's even better because you're training your eyes to look at objects. But since this is a beginner's course, you're allowed to use mine as a model. See some lines here. Now that I have a nice red beginning area, I'm going to start with the black to intensify some areas that I want actually darker. So again, I'm going to start at that background and just see how this mix. I'm not sure how it's going to mix, but I'm going to let the tool do most of the work. I'm not going to force the mixture. I'm just going right here to the edge. Here. I'm going to break this video up into parts so that you can see the entire rendition, rendering of the apple. So if you look at what I'm doing, I'm only attacking right now the dark areas. I'll slowly build. Right here is light pressure because I'm using a dark tone. I am going to go over this in red again. And that's how you get your mixtures to really happen. You go over it and layer and then there's sometimes where there's a nice dark line here and there. So okay to apply that. Some parts of the stem may have a little dark area. Some parts of the leaf have sharp lines. You can add those in. We'll really solidify it later on in the drawing. Now I just want to finish this last part here. So this will be part one of monochromatic crayon drawing of an apple. I'll be posting part two later on today, so so look out for that, and I'll notify my class, my painting class, about when it will be available. All right, so see you next time for part two of this lesson. Goodbye.